I still want to ask, what will be the premium teams for Onslaught, for next Onslaught? I'm actually not sure, because Inefa is definitely going to be the best character for Cactus, but Inefa doesn't really have a specific best team. Like, it's, the overall performance is very similar between a lot of different carries in Inefa teams. But Turtle is definitely going to be Molani. Best Molani team for Turtle. This, maybe? Kind of cringe to not get the Hydro reaction here. But I guess it just is what it is. Does Burning build up a shield? It doesn't. That's why Nahido's good. Burning ticks don't count as elemental hits for that shield specifically. I don't know why, but they don't. Wait, Nahido over Sucrose? Sucrose is more hits, number one. But also, the rotations are just a lot more straightforward with Nahido. But you could use Sucrose, sure. Sure, you can use Sucrose. Like, there's no real problem with that, I guess. The biggest problem here is that these rotations can't use Shilonen Burst without losing your Hydro Swirl. But if you don't use Shilonen Burst, you die. But yeah, then for Inefa, I'll use Dory as a placeholder, right? I think the biggest contributing factor to what Inefa team you should use is probably the fact that all of the good carries against Papilla want Bennett. Right? So ideally you want an Inefa team that doesn't use Bennett. Whether that's Nevilette or like Varissa. I'd probably lean more towards this personally. And then, if you're using Malika on the Molani team, I guess you kind of get cooked here. Because Chaska, if you were using her, would want either Malika Sitlali or, like, Farina and something. Kinich wants Malika, ideally. And Malika needs Malika. So I guess we could do PMC here instead. Something like this. That might be what the premium teams look like. Maybe. Kinich teams will work too. But I don't think they'll be better than Malika. Unless Malika actually does end up reaching the shield cap. Like the damage carryover cap of supposedly 30% HP. And I guess she might, actually. But no, I don't think she does. Is one full rotation of this team enough to break the Void Shield? I don't know. We get a total of about, like, 14, 15 hits of Sitlali. Or Abyss? Yes, yeah, but this is not Abyss. Let's say 15 hits for Sitlali. Plus 3 hits. That's like 18. And then Malika is another, like, 15, maybe? It's a little bit over 30, which is about 90 Void Shield, so it's not enough. First rotation doesn't have burst? It does. This is not a team like the Skirk teams where you ignore your burst on the first rotation. This is a team where you delay your first rotation by 5 seconds to get your burst. Because one rotation probably won't reach the shield cap, but 2 rotations probably does. So if you need 2 rotations, then you probably are losing damage in a team like this. So then maybe Malika won't be as good. But I think for Dire, she's back to being fine. Because I'm pretty sure with Malika, it's like the HP breakpoints make her better or worse depending on how close she gets to 30% in the amount of rotations it takes to break the shield. Which is like 1.5. But like, if you're doing more than 30% of the enemy's HP in 2 rotations, that means 6 rotations is enough to kill, which means you're clearing. Right? Even if you waste a little bit of damage. Because you have time to do 6 rotations in 2 minutes, right? So it will only ever be a problem when it's not a problem. Right? It'll only ever slow down your clear when, even after your clear being slowed down, you still have enough DPS. But Maliga will be like kind of capped, where unlike hyper invested accounts, you're still going to clear in like 110 seconds. But then you'll be able to clear Dire in 115. Anyways. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting here. But I mean, we'll have to test it properly. Like I'm not too confident in any of this yet. Other than that, I mean, it's probably just Kanich, right? Could do something like this. Could do immediately instead too. What about Verissa? Yeah, Verissa will also be pretty solid. But I was using the example with Verissa in this team. And see, and we can't have two of them. But you could also do something like this with this. Right? That's also something that would work. If we don't get an FF, can we do Versa Hyper with Shannon, Farina, and X still? Probably, yeah. Dire aside, I don't think that'll be a problem at all. Could Glowing Hyperloom clear Cactus? Don't play Hyperloom against Cactus. Like, the Dendro unit will be significantly worse than another Electro Hydro unit, or an Animo unit, or a Shilonen. Even C2 Nahida. I mean, C2 Nahida will be fine, but I don't even know if it'll be better than C0 of the other elemental supports. Can Delnity spread potentially clear Turtle on difficulty 5? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't even know if C6 Delnity can. If I can't cap Shannon attack, is it best to use... Okay, don't think of Shannon as a character that you have to cap. That's a bad way to think about things. Trying to cap for a character is something that you should only ever have in mind on characters where capping is trivial. Right? Characters like Chevreurs, where if you're not building more HP, you just get a tiny bit more damage on a character that barely does anything. Right? Characters like Yeon-san, again, doesn't really get more damage because her overall output is pretty low. And reaching the attack requirements to cap Yeon-san is pretty easy. For Xianyun, it's not. And you need a lot of ER to make her work. The reality is, you will not be capping Xianyun's buff, pretty much ever. Don't bother. What you care about is you need to have enough ER, and with enough ER, as much attack as possible. Right? It's not as much ER as possible with capped attack. It's as much attack as possible with the ER that you need for the team you're playing. If I don't have a Natlan DPS, would it be official angle for Papilla? Man, if you don't have a Natlan DPS, you're kind of cooked on Papilla, I'm gonna be honest. Because every Natlan carry is effectively just dealing damage while it's shielded, and non-Natlan carries just aren't. It's not just that you break the shield slower, it's also that while it's shielded, you don't do any damage instead of doing damage. It's pretty cooked unless you're, like, insanely high investment. High investment burning team? And what burning team is going to be good without being a Kanich team? You have any thoughts on the lunar Dendro reactions? I mean, I have ideas, but I don't have speculation. Like, at the end of the day, stuff like that, they will do what they want to do. If they want to make a reaction that feels similar to what we have, but works slightly differently, they will. If they want to make something that feels different entirely, they will. Right? Like, there's no set rules for the reactions. They get to do what they want. I really hope that Lunar Electrocharge is the only reaction that won't care about your application speed, though. Right? Because I think there's two possibilities, right? Either they're just simplifying reactions and gameplay with Lunar Charge and Lunar reactions in general, because unlike Electrocharge, Lunar Charge damage happens kind of... It always does a similar-ish amount of damage. You don't have to worry about any sort of setup, right? I hope that that's just because Electrocharge was an omega cringe reaction to try to min-max, rather than an indication of what they're planning to do with Lunar reactions, right? I hope they don't make it so that, like, Lunar Vape, for example, creates an aura on enemies like a Quicken aura, and then attacks on an enemy like that are Hydro are multiplied by 1.5 and Pyro multiplied by 1.25, right? Because, like, that's something they could do, right? Make it so that instead of having a trigger and an aura, you just have a status applied to enemies, and then both the elements become trigger, kind of like Aggravate and Spread, right? But I think that would be really boring. I hope that's not what they do. But I think it's a possibility based off of how Lunar Charge, in terms of gameplay, is kind of just a simplified version of Electrocharge. Do you think this is a test for Traveler swapping element? What?
For inner artist. Oh yeah. So, with the power of the Asha, you can...
Like the menu they're using to change the color? Is that what you're saying?
Big chance to unleash your inner artist. Oh yeah. So,
Yeah?
with the power of the Asha...
No. They don't need to test this shit. But also, yeah, I actually think that if Traveler could switch elements mid-combat, they'd actually be really good. That would be fucking sick, though. Like, actually, that would be insane. Do 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 do.